Okay, wonderful. Because I've not only have I been a diplomat myself, I've been posted to New York, Geneva, Saudi Arabia, Riyadh, and I also grew up in the Foreign Service, mostly in the United States and Germany. And I can say that Filipinos know no better home overseas than they do here in New Zealand. I mean, this country is a beautifully multicultural country, and it really has, it's given a wonderful welcome to migrants, and particularly Filipinos. Yeah, well, I've seen in the, well, I also like to say I'm the Philippine Ambassador. I'm the new Philippine Ambassador here, but I'm joining the 49,999 other Filipinos who are already here. Well, there are so many things. Like, first of all, the temperament of the people themselves, the Kiwi, well, the Pakehas, Maori, and those who have been here for some time. They have a very, very welcoming, gentle, but also very educated, very professional. Also this wonderful blending of the Commonwealth and the Polynesian cultures, and they have also I'm glad to see not side by side with Filipinos. We have Indians, Chinese, and a whole range of ethnicities, particularly from Asia, and I see them. I've been to so many communities around the world, and I've rarely seen such a wonderful sense of harmony and belonging that you find here. It's an excellent relationship and a growing relationship, not only as a bilateral relationship, but also Philippines being a part of ASEAN, Association of Southeast Asian Nations, and we are chairing ASEAN next year. So on the well, first talking about the bilateral, this year we're proudly celebrating the 50th anniversary of the establishment of diplomatic relations between our two countries. And from our side, of course, the most visible aspect is are the Filipinos who have settled here. We're soon reaching 50,000, which is already 1% of the Kiwi population. Yeah. And of course this had been accelerated. I mean, the boom really happened in the past few years with the reconstruction of Christchurch and the dairy industry. But actually in all sectors, all throughout these 5 decades, slowly, but really the big jump, of course, happened in the past decade. We also have, as we all know, we have many students who have been coming here, not just to take advantage of the world-class education, but of course, in some circumstances, it's a pathway to eventual settlement. But of course, this is also one of the challenging areas, which particularly the Indian community can appreciate, since while I say that on the balance, it is a very positive relationship, wonderful. But there are some challenges, as I said. Like, for example, in fact, we can call it education trafficking, where there is exploitation, but the dynamic here is there are some I think the bulk of the problem really is very unscrupulous, quote-unquote, education advisors in our respective home countries who are misleading some of our people in misrepresenting what really is on offer through education. But as Minister Woodhouse said, there should be no expectation of an instant pathway to. I think, of course, the most numerous victims are from India, but Philippines is also very much up there. And this is very sad, because this otherwise is not a very positive mark on otherwise very world-class education I have here. But again, the exploitation starts from our side. So I'm working closely with New Zealand authorities, but as well as with our communities, as well as the institutions themselves, to help put an end to this. Well, long-standedly, ultimately, this is like a subset of a larger sense of exploitation of migration. There's been, of course, trafficking, but more broadly, there has been also labor exploitation with more directly with false or misleading offers of employment, or you have actually abuse by the recruiter or by the employer themselves. And one of my postings was in Saudi Arabia, and we had
similar issues there.
Well, of course, it is. there are issues of exploitation, but of course of a different nature. Yeah, but I mean, my career I've been working in the extremes. In my posting, and for most of my career, I've been working with United Nations issues, multilateral issues, and my postings have included our missions to New York and Geneva. And then the other extreme is I was in charge of what we call assistance to nationals. And so I spent much of my time in jails in Saudi Arabia helping to, in Riyadh and the eastern region, helping to get justice or get, our Filipinos out of trouble. So in a way, I'm privileged to have this sort of the extremes of diplomacy. So it really helps to give me this breadth of experience to best appreciate and tackle my job as ambassador. I dialogued with some of our some of the Filipinos who have been working here, some of the employers, and some members of the Filipino community. I also met briefly with Auntie Dels, to get a better picture of what was really going on. But again, as you say, that the unfortunate thing that has happened, yes, the exploitation happened in, I guess, recruiters' greed. They wanted to capitalize on the need and demand for dairy. We have wonderfully skilled dairy and agricultural workers. So in order to get volumes of workers, they didn't have to do this at all. They facilitated mass numbers, large numbers of workers, but to facilitate that, they had to produce. But which was really unnecessary. But again, greed motivates a lot of this exploitation to get many. And then the tragic thing is these were perpetrated by my own people. But some of them, of course, are married to Kiwis, and so. But anyway, so we're grateful that the New Zealand government understood the situation. It wasn't the fault of the workers themselves, and I'm glad that the justice system has caught up with some of the perpetrators. But yes, this needs due diligence also on our side. So